Hello, guys. Back again for another live stream. Just going off of recent news. Um, yeah, the first thing I really wanted to talk about was this for USC this next game against Nebraska and how I think that's going to go, and then I'm going to talk about more NFL stuff. Last week, week 10, and then next week, week 11, and then hopefully I can end it there. So first, USC versus Nebraska. Um, I said a couple weeks ago that I felt like Nebraska was very similar to our team in that it's just they have a lot of close games and stuff like that. But now that we've had a quarterback change, there's a lot of unknowns in this current USC team. Um, like how will our new quarterback gel with the receivers? How will he play in a real game, like in a real USC game? Like, there's a lot of unknowns that we still need to get figured out. Roo- Praying, rooting for the best for the guy. Hoping for the best for the guy. I think that he deserves a chance as much as anyone else. And even though I was disappointed in the way that they handled Miller Moss, I think that Jaden still deserves a chance. Um, and so rooting for him, hope he does well, and then hoping Miller Moss lands on his feet and fights for that starting job back. And if we get another transfer in next year, then we'll see how that goes. You know, um, the Nebraska game is on Saturday, 1 p.m. Um, ESPN has UFC as an 82% chance of winning, um, and we'll have to see because the two teams are fairly evenly matched. They are 5-4. We're 4-5. Seems like they have a lot of like I said, similarities to our team. Um, yeah, we'll have to see how the game goes and how all the pieces gel and stuff like that. And hopefully, uh, offense gets back on track. There's since this year hasn't been really conducive to many things on offense. Our offensive line has been struggling. Our quarterback has been struggling because of that offensive line, and then just just eating those hits takes a toll on anybody. So I think that if we win this game, we're gonna have to win it pretty convincingly. Um, and yeah, hopefully the Lincoln Riley um, like firing crowd quiets down for a little bit more. Um, I think I said at the beginning of like when he was first hired, I was like, how long will it take for USC fans to run him out of town? Because like I was I was also disappointed on in it was the whole Clay Helton situation, and I like the coach, and I think that um, just it was a whole dumpster fire with the fans and the stuff like that. So that whole situation was what it was. And when Lincoln Riley was hired, I was kind of like, oh boy, here comes another highly touted coach, which may or may not work. Um, and I was like, we're gonna need to get him a defensive coordinator, stuff like that. And I think I said this. I was like, how long will it take for the USC fans to turn on him? And it's not all of them. It's not all of them, but fans are starting to turn on them after 3 years. Oh, two and a half. And if Clay Helton was as bad as they say he was, then it's going to take a little while for USC to get back on track. So, um, other than that, let's just hope for the best for for USC and all that. Uh, hoping for a win, a win. Hopefully, we can go 7-5, but I have a feeling we're gonna go 6-6. Um, moving on to the next topic, going into last week of NFL. This has been a bye week, so I don't have much to say for USC. So, um, last week of the NFL games uh, just ended 2 days ago, Monday. That's right. Um, as usual, I'm gonna go in chronological order or how it shows up on my ESPN thing. So, first game, the Thursday game, Bengals Ravens. uh, Something that I have thought for a while about this Bengals team, and um, I think it's kind of a hot take where I still think that the the Bengals should have drafted Penei Sewell over Jamar Chase, even though Jamar has is one of the best wide receivers in the country. I still think that they should have locked down the offensive line when they could, rather than trying to piecemeal stuff from trades and pickups throughout the way. Because man, um, and that defense, man, that defense is really bad. Their defense is really bad. They let a couple of stars go, and it like I saw a video where it was a Bengals fan, and he was like, "Yeah, your internal thermostat has to raise with your when something raises the temperature, because if your internal thermostat stays the same, that high temperature when something raises it will gradually come back down to the mean." And it's like, that makes sense because this is something that happened with Carson Palmer back in the day, where they had Chados Chosinko and Carson Palmer and a bunch of guys on the offense, but they couldn't make it past the the wild card because they they had injuries and stuff like that. But then ownership pissed off the quarterback, and he demanded a trade. So I see a lot of that happening here too, where they they're going back down to the means, and then also they've ticked off Jamar Chase, and like they need to sign Jamar, but also like he's not negotiating with them anymore, like until the end of the season, and it's like this is this is the Bengals, like they're they flubbed up the Jamar Chase situation, and hopefully he stays with the team, but like they need to fix that offensive line. They need to get depth on it because, yes, I guess they fixed it kind of, but since injuries, it's not been going well. Um, and then the Ravens, I think, just are the better team. Even though they've won by 1 point, I think that the Ravens are just the better team. They need to fix the defense, obviously, but it's like they're in the better position to make those changes. Because the Bengals, now that they're what 4-6, they can't. It's like they're gonna have a lot of stuff that they need to do first before before they do anything else. It's like, oh gosh, they need to start winning first, and then they like they need to fix it now rather than the Ravens have weeks on weeks to like tinker with it and see what works and what doesn't. And since the Ravens are 7-3 and winning all these games, the the Bengals have less room for error and they need to fix it like now rather than the Ravens have time to fix it 1 week at a time. Um, next, the Sunday slate, we have Cardinals Jets, my team. Woo! We beat the Jets. um, this game was over once it became 14-6. I felt like it. Jeez, like I knew it just seemed like the Cardinals were the better coached, better playing team. Even though the Jets have, I've heard all year that the Jets have all this talent and stuff like that. It just didn't show up. Didn't show up Sunday, and don't know what Aaron Rodgers does now. um, like like I said a couple weeks ago, it may be time to hang it up, man. Like I know that Brett Favre did the Packers to the Jets to the Minnesota Vikings things, but he was younger by far when he did that, and he retired at the same age as Rodgers is now. So it might be time to hang it up, my guy. Um, other than that, yeah, it's like don't know what the Jets do now, but for the Cardinals, we're first place in the division. Um, hoping to keep this up, though I don't know how our next couple games will go. We're playing the Seahawks next, which is I know the Seahawks season hasn't gone like they've hoped, but they're still a tough out. So then the Vikings, then the Seahawks again. So just hoping to go at least 2-1 in that stretch. Um, hoping not to get 1-2 because the 49ers are still the 49ers. So we need to keep up that pressure and hopefully beat them again when we play them again. weeks from now. But next we have the German game, the Panthers Giants. Didn't really watch this one. It looked pretty boring. But congratulations to Bryce that he got his second win. He looks very happy. He looks very like confident again, which I'm very glad about because I hate to see anybody fail in this in the game of football that they work so hard for. So congratulations to Bryce getting his second win. Hopefully he can win a couple more games this year, um, and then build on that for next. Next is the Broncos Chiefs. Jeez. um, oh my word. That game was it was crazy, man. I was in the middle of like looking into like other games and stuff like that, and then I saw the Broncos driving down the field. Like I tuned in once in a while in that game, and I was like, wow, the Broncos are keeping this competitive. Like they're in the lead, and then they lost the lead, and then they were like, and I was like, oh, they might win. It's 1 second. They have a 35-yard field goal, and I think I said to my brother, Chiefs 8-1 Chiefs maybe, and then I tuned into the last the last play with the field goal, and I was like, oh my goodness, that's crazy, and it and it was like, who could have thought that in that moment that the Chiefs were going to block the kick? Not just the Broncos missing the kick, which still could have happened either way, but the Chiefs just blocking it, running over that the tight end and blocking the kick. And that's just crazy. Um, but congratulations to the Chiefs. They they played another ugly game, but a win's a win, and they're 9-0. And I don't I don't believe in this thing where they're the worst 9-0 team ever. They're 9-0. If they start losing games, then you can say that they're the worst 9-0 team, but like they're still winning, and they could go honestly, I think this Bills game, their next Bills game, like next week, is the most likely they'll lose for the rest of the year. And they might lose to one of their conference games, because conference games are always hard. And especially with the Broncos. The Broncos always play them tough, and it's always a weird game. And like, but they play the Bills. If they don't lose that, then they play the Panthers, which should be a win. The Raiders, which should be a win. The Chargers, who they beat pretty handily earlier in the year. But that's also a toss up. And then the Browns, which is, what do you got to say about the Browns? The Texans, which could be a good game. It might not be, especially with the Texans' offensive line troubles and injury problems. Nico Collins will be back because I think that he's activated for this week. I think so. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. And then the Steelers, and then the Broncos again. So the Steelers also might be a team that they could lose to, because I'm just thinking about that one wild card game where the first half the Steelers just gave the Chiefs all they could handle, and then the Chiefs um, pulled away. So we'll have to see. And then the Broncos again, which always play them tough. So they honestly, they might go on another like 13-game winning streak against the Broncos. It's either that or the Broncos like always play them tough. It's it's never it's never simple with Chiefs versus Broncos, as I seem to have realized a couple times ago, a couple games ago. Uh, their matchups, I was like, this is not a normal matchup because, like, even when the Broncos were horrible that one year, they still played the Chiefs really hard. And, um, next, we have the Steelers Commanders. Uh, Jayden Daniels and Russell Wilson. It seemed like a good game, and then Russell Wilson just pulled it out in the end. No real shame for Jayden Daniels. The Steelers have, as Utree likes to say, the most expensive defense in the league. So scoring 27 points against them is pretty impressive. But they need to learn how to turn these close games into W's. Not just with the Hail Mary, but in the context of the game, you know. Vikings Jaguars. This game, um, not giving up on Sam Darnold yet. Um, like it just seemed like a bad game from the jump. Um, both teams did so poorly, but they figured out a way to win it, and they won. So, win's a win. And like I said with the Chiefs, if they start losing a bunch, you could say pumpkin mode or something. But I just hate that. I just hate that phrase. Like it's like you're rooting for someone to fail, which I hate doing. I hate rooting for someone to fail, you know? And it's just like with Sam Darnold, especially with him being a USC Trojan, I'm just like, I'm always rooting for him to succeed. I'm rooting for him to get back on his feet this next week. And then winning, like just winning. I hope he takes them to the playoffs and wins a playoff game, you know. And maybe that's just me. Maybe it's just that it's my USC fandom getting in the way. But I just hate rooting for people to fail. Like it's not fun for me. Like even with Bryce Young, I'm like, I hope he comes back. I hope he proves all the doubters wrong. I hope he turns the Panthers into a competitive team because like all these quote unquote busts, like they've just had horrible like goes at it, you know, horrible coaching that didn't develop their skills. You know, like Sam Darnold had Matt Rule and the Jets, the Jets, which couldn't help Aaron Rodgers couldn't facilitate a team for Aaron Rodgers to make it to the playoffs, and that might be also kind of Aaron Rodgers' fault. So we'll have to go on that. Saints Falcons. Congratulations to Derek Carr and coming back, winning a game. Kirk Cousins, I still think that he's pretty good quarterback. And I think the Falcons still have the best shot to winning this division. But the Saints are finally getting a little bit healthier. And without their head coach, it's like, Well, now we have our offensive coordinator who helped us with those first two wins, the blowouts of the first two teams, and I think it was the Panthers and it was the Cowboys. So they in their losing skid. I don't think they'll make the playoffs this year, but they could cause some chaos. Uh, let's see. They have the Browns next, which, let's be honest, both teams are kind of bad. So hopefully the Saints will. I'm rooting for Jameis Winston, and then I'm I'm rooting for the Saints as as an organization. So we'll have to see. Then they have the Rams, then they have the Giants, then the Commanders, then the Packers, then the Saints. Well, then the Raiders, then the Bucks. So they could beat the Packers, cause some chaos, but like I don't think they'll make the playoffs. 7 losses is hard to come back from. So especially at this point in the season. Um, Next, 49ers, Buccaneers. Uh, it seems that the 49ers are finally getting healthier. And they're doing 49ers things. They win games. They have a good defense. They have a good offense. Brock Purdy's still Brock Purdy. I don't know what you want me to say. They're still a really good team. Even though they're 5-4 right now, it's like this is still the same team which got to runner up in the NFL last year. So they're going to win games. I think they'll make the playoffs. I think it's going to be the either the 49ers or the Cardinals out of the West. And I don't think that's a really hot take, but we'll have to see how the conference shapes out. Yeah. Next is Bills Colts. I didn't really watch this game, but Bills won quite easily. The score doesn't really do it justice. Joe Flacco threw a bunch of interceptions, even though it was a interesting day for Josh Allen, where he threw 280 yards, but two picks and no touchdowns. But it looked like he ran a score in. Yeah, he ran a touchdown in. Um, Joe Flacco really gave the game away. It was a whole thing where I don't think the Bills really needed to try um, to win this game. It was just that kind of game, you know. Patriots Bears. Man, I feel for Bears fans. It's like they had hope this preseason, and I really thought that they were gonna make it a race to the finish with the whole NFC North. Um, like I think it was week 6 where the Lions were 5-1, the Vikings were 5-1, and then the Packers and the Bears were 4-2, and it was like, oh my gosh, the NFC North. But and I still thought that they were going to be the odd ones out, because I think that the Vikings and the Packers are just too good, and obviously better teams than the Bears. And I think that what's really holding them back is their coaching, you know. And the team doesn't seem like it's gelling. It's like, and I know people are like, "Oh, it's Caleb's fault. It's best best, most talented group out of all 4 rookie quarterbacks. But I'm like, okay, just think about the Eagles' dream team back in the day. They got all these like great players and players that knew how to win. But if you don't get them to gel, like the chemistry of the team doesn't fully work, it's not going to work. Like, I think that's what's happening with this Bears team, where Shane Waldron isn't doing his job well enough, and then Eberflus is just this head coach where you're just like I want him to succeed. Like he doesn't seem like a horrible guy, but it's just like the past couple years with Justin Fields should have been enough to fire him last year. But then they kept him around, picked him up a new offensive coordinator, which Seahawks fans were like, "Go ahead, take him." And it was just like the team didn't gel. The chemistry between Caleb Williams and the offensive line didn't work. The chemistry between the offensive linemen didn't work. The chemistry between Caleb Williams and the wide receivers didn't work. It's just a whole mess with the offense. Even though the defense is doing well, it's just like they're losing these games by not scoring points. And so, like, I get it. I guess that it's the most talented team out of the bunch, but it's not the best team out of the bunch. Like, yes, some of it falls on Caleb for not connecting with his teammates, but also it has to be mostly on the coaches because they're the de facto leaders of the team. They need to see what's wrong with the team and then fix it. And I don't think Eberflus has done that, and I don't think he has he hasn't shown the ability to do that. Chargers Titans. Chargers win this pretty easily. Not much to say there. It was a typical Chargers game for this year. They win the game. They play good defense. Harbaugh is doing a really good job out in LA. So here's to hoping that they win a couple more games, make the playoffs. Eagles Cowboys. What's to say that hasn't been said about the Cowboys? The Eagles win this quite easily. It was really bad. Cooper Rush didn't get it done. Trey Lance didn't get it done. The sun glare from the stadium acted up again. Like, at this point, what's there to say like that hasn't been said already about the Cowboys? Like, the culture has already been done to death. The players not being too individualistic and not working together as a team, that's already been done to death. It's just, what's more to say about the Cowboys? And then the Eagles, they didn't have their Nick Sirianni moment this game, but they won. So another win for the Eagles. They now top the division. They're a really good team. Oh, well, there's not much more to say there. Texans Lions. Yeesh. That was an ugly game. It was a really, really ugly game. Lions win despite Goff throwing 5 picks. Texans. What happened, Texans? Like I remember last year when people were happy that Bobby Slowick didn't take a head coaching job and stayed stayed for the this year, and then now they're calling for Bobby Slowick's head. So it's like really fast change of events there. So hopefully they can turn it around. Hopefully with Nico Collins back, uh, CJ Stroud can get back to his winning ways. They're 6-4 right now, so they still top the division. I don't think much is going to stand in their way of winning this division unless they have a total collapse. But they already beat the Colts twice, so um, they already beat the Colts twice. They could probably beat the Jaguars twice. They already beat the Titans, so well, no, they'll play the Titans in a couple weeks. So I don't see a way that they can lose this division, but I've been wrong before. So Texans better step it up. And then the last game of the week was the Monday game, which was Dolphins Rams. This game was one of the games of all time. You know, Tua needs to start not leading with his head. Like that's how he got concussed last time. He leaded with his head, and it was just like, come on, man. You know you have a history of concussions. Stop leading with your head. And the Rams just couldn't score a touchdown. Kicked the field goal on 3rd and goal, which, like when I was watching, I was like, wait, wasn't it 3rd and goal? Why are they kicking it? Whatever. So that was last week's games. Another great week for the NFL. Hopefully next week we'll top it. Which starts on Thursday with the Commanders Eagles. I think this game will be pretty good. I think it will be a pretty good game, but I don't know about the Commanders defense, man. Like they're either really good one week or really bad another. And I think the Eagles offensive attack is just too good. I think the Eagles will win this, but it will be a good game. It will probably be a close game because these two teams are really good. So I think the Eagles will win and take firm control of the division, but I'm not going to count the Commanders out. So that's the Thursday game. Sunday slate, Rams Patriots. Rams should win this easily. The Patriots aren't that good of a team, even with Drake May, but the Rams defensive line is really good and should wreak havoc on that Patriots offensive line. Yeah. Steelers Ravens. The Ravens should win this game, but I like I said earlier, they have the time to, but like with Kyle Hamilton like hurt last week, I don't know the severity of that injury, but hopefully he can come back this week. But if he doesn't, the Steelers will just. I think the Steelers will win this one. But Lamar Jackson will probably have a good game. Jaguars Lions. The Lions should win this easily. especially without Trevor Lawrence. Hopefully, Trevor comes back this week, but if he doesn't, does not bode well for the Jaguars. Yeah, I don't think the I think the Lions will win this pretty easily. Um, yeah, Browns Saints. Like I said earlier, I think the Saints should win this one because Browns are in total disarray right now. So, in the and the Saints are just coming off of a really good win. So, I think they can carry the day. Colts Jets. um. Oh gosh, I think the Jets should win this. It's one of those games where, on paper, the Jets should win it. Even though Anthony Richardson is coming back and can learn more, but let's just see. Let's just see because the Jets are also in pretty like they're not a cohesive team right now. So, uh, Vikings Titans again. I think the Vikings should win. Um, hopefully, hopefully Sam Darnold can get back on his feet, throw more touchdowns, less picks, and hopefully the Vikings will win this pretty easily. But this is the NFL. Every team has good players and stuff. So, but the Vikings defense should shut down the Tennessee offense. It's just if the Vikings offense can get started because these past 2 weeks has been really like really weird because it just came out of nowhere, and I think Sam should get back on track. Um, I think Kevin O'Connell is a good enough coach to take out more of his flaws and bring out more of his redeeming qualities. And he isn't afraid to throw the deep ball. Is a he has a great arm, so hopefully Kevin can bring out his reckless tendencies more this week than the past 2 weeks. Um, Raiders Dolphins. I think the Dolphins should win this one pretty easily. Um, I don't know what the Raiders do from now. This is basically a punt it year. Hopefully, they get the number one pick and um, they can restart their franchise under Antonio Pierce. And I hope Antonio Pierce can work out. Um, Bears Packers. Oh, hurts to say this, but Packers should win this one pretty easily. Um, I don't think firing Shane Waldron will help all that much. Um, hopefully, it gets a spark in that team. Hopefully, their interim offensive coordinator can do a better job than Shane Waldron did, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Falcons Broncos. Coming off that loss, the Broncos, hopefully it lights a fire under them to do better. Because I think the Broncos will win this game. Their defense is just really good, and their offense is just taking strides throughout the year. So I think the Broncos will win this game. Seahawks 49ers. The Seahawks are just a weird team. It's like their offense is up and down, and their defense is up and down, but they're up and down in opposite weeks. So when the offense is up, the defense is down. But when the defense is up, the offense is down. So it's like, what do you do? What do you? They're just a really weird team, but I think the 49ers should win this. Um, should, but we'll see which Seahawks team comes out. Um, Chiefs Bills. I think this is one of the only real chances the Chiefs has of losing this year, but I'm gonna go with the Chiefs until they prove otherwise. So I think the Chiefs win. Bengals Chargers. Man, I don't know. This is a really tough game because I think the Chargers are good, but this is going to be a real test for their defense, which has done well so far. But this Bengals offense, man, is really good, especially with Joe and Jamar. So I'm gonna choose the Bengals to win. Texas Cowboys, Texans, especially with Dak out for the year. Um, the Texans should win this game, and if they don't, then that's an uh-oh. That's an uh-oh for the Texans and an uh-oh for CJ Stroud. But I think the Texans should win. And they probably will. So that concludes it for the NFL slate section. Um, and I wanted to really talk about um, next week and maybe streaming the Texans Cowboys game. Um, well, my reaction to it. So, yeah, Monday, Monday night, or Sunday night, the Bengals Chargers. But I think I'll go with the Texans Cowboys. More people should be watching, and then also, I like the I like the matchup more. I rooting for CJ Stroud more. So, but that should be it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.